Jim Harbaugh dropped a pretty tough update this week on rookie running back Omarion Hampton, guys, and this is not very good. Everyone's been kind of holding their breath, waiting for word that the kid was getting close, maybe back at practice, maybe about to open that activation window. But nope, Harbaugh came out and said point blank, they're not even expecting that window to open until after Week 12 bye. With best case scenario, we're talking Week 13 against the Raiders. Now, that might not sound too bad if you just glance at the schedule, but think about what that actually means. The Chargers have already played basically half the season without their power back, the guy they drafted to give this offense some real punch. He was just starting to find his rhythm before that ankle injury back in Week 5, and since then, it's been a full-on scramble, trying to replace what he brought to the field. I mean, look, Kamani Vidal's done everything he can. The dude runs hard, and he's clearly learning every week. Jared Patterson's chipped in too, giving them a little more speed and versatility. But if we're being honest, this backfield's been a patchwork job ever since Hampton went down. The timing's off, the short yardage runs are sputtering, every first and goal feels like a prayer. And it's not all on those guys. They're doing their best. It's just that the offense was built to run through a hammer like Hampton, and now they're trying to make it work with duct tape and a dream. What makes it sting even more is that Harbaugh's system, that whole old school ground and pound identity he's been trying to build, it depends on rhythm. It's not just about calling run plays. It's about leaning on defenses, making them feel every hit, setting up play action so Herbert can hit those intermediate routes. Without a real downhill back, the whole structure kind of collapses. And that's exactly what we've seen. Justin Herbert's been running for his life back there. The man's leading the team in rushing some weeks, and that's not a stat you want your quarterback owning. Against the Titans, he literally had more rushing yards than both running backs combined. 57 yards and a touchdown. I mean, that's cool for fantasy owners, but for the Chargers offense, that's a red flag. It's not like Harbaugh and Greg Roman don't know this. They've been trying everything. More shotgun runs, more quick passes, even using tight ends to chip and block. But it just hasn't clicked. The problem's deeper. Part of it's the personnel, sure, but part of it's the injuries up front. The offensive line has been absolutely brutalized this year. Joe Alt went down, Rashawn Slater's been battling through pain, and Mekhi Becton can't seem to stay off the injury report. That's 3 of your top linemen gone or limited.
So when people say the running backs aren't performing, yeah, that's true on paper, but think about what they're running behind. Holes aren't opening, timing's off. Every run looks like it's hitting a brick wall. You can't build a rhythm like that, and it puts everything on Herbert's shoulders. That's how you end up with this weird, unbalanced offense where your franchise quarterback is taking hits that shouldn't even be happening. And here's the kicker. The Chargers had a chance to fix this. They had a window to go get help before the trade deadline, and they didn't. They missed it, straight up. The team was 6-3, right in the thick of the AFC West race, and everyone thought, okay, Harbaugh's going to make a move here. They'll grab a veteran back, maybe someone who can keep the chains moving while Hampton heals. But nope, the clock ran out and no notable running back was added. That's where the frustration really starts boiling for fans because you could feel the opportunity slipping away. This team's good enough to compete, but it's hard to win games in November and December when you can't close out drives on the ground. Those are the kind of details that separate playoff teams from the ones sitting at home in January. Now, to be fair, it's not like the front office was asleep. GM Joe Hortiz has been working the phones, trying to find something that fits without wrecking the cap. Word is he and Harbaugh have been in talks with a couple of free agents, one of them being offensive tackle Andre Dillard, who used to be with the 49ers, and the other being running back Zack Moss, formerly of the Bengals and Colts. And I'll be honest, if they can land Moss, I'm all in on that move. Zack Moss isn't a flashy guy. He's not the kind of running back that makes the highlight shows every week, but he's tough, he's consistent, and he's built for the kind of offense Harbaugh and Greg Roman want to run. You look at his numbers for 2023, almost 800 yards, over 4 yards a carry, 5 touchdowns. That's exactly the kind of reliability this offense needs right now. Moss is a one-cut runner. He hits the hole, he falls forward, he doesn't dance. That's what's missing from this backfield. Right now, every run feels like it takes forever to develop. You can see Herbert in the shotgun waiting for something to happen, and by the time the back gets the ball, the defense is already crashing down. Moss brings a sense of immediacy. He attacks. He's that type of guy who turns 2nd and 9 into 3rd and 4, and that completely changes how you call plays. And maybe more importantly, he protects the ball. In this system, you can't have turnovers killing drives, especially when your margin for error is already razor thin. That's why Moss makes so much sense. He's low risk, high reward, and his market value fits where the Chargers are financially. You're talking $4 to $5 million a year, which is totally manageable if they shuffle a couple contracts around.
But beyond the numbers, there's the cultural fit. Harbaugh wants players who buy into the grind. He's not looking for divas or guys chasing headlines. He wants lunch pail football players. That's Moss. Quiet, physical, dependable. You put him in a room with Justin Herbert, Derwin James, and Khalil Mack, and you've got a locker room full of pros who lead by example. Now, all that said, there's still this feeling of what if? What if they'd made a move earlier? What if they'd gone harder before the trade deadline? Because the truth is, Harbaugh and Hortiz were under pressure. Everybody in the league knew the Chargers were desperate. They'd already lost Rashawn Slater, Joe Alton, Najee Harris, and with Hampton out, they were basically down to practice squad depth at one of the most important positions in football. That desperation drives up prices. Teams smell it. They start asking for draft picks you just can't afford to give up. So instead, the Chargers made a smaller move. They traded for Trevor Penning, a young offensive tackle who's still trying to find his footing in the league. It was a gamble. Some fans hated it. Others understood it. The truth is, it was probably the best they could do under the circumstances. Penning's got potential, he's got the size and aggression Harbaugh likes, but he's raw. He needs coaching. He's not going to fix the run game overnight. That's why I keep coming back to the same thing. The Chargers don't just need bodies, they need identity. Right now, they look like a team that knows what it wants to be, but hasn't figured out how to get there. And maybe that's okay. Maybe this season's supposed to be the growing pains year, the one where Harbaugh sets the tone, rebuilds the culture, and figures out which guys really belong. Still, it's hard not to think about what could have been if Hampton hadn't gone down. The kid had that spark. You could see it in that short stretch before the injury, the way he hit the hole, the way the offense seemed to breathe easier when he was in there. He was giving them that physical edge that every Harbaugh team has always had, and losing that has thrown everything off balance. But I'll say this, Harbaugh is handling it the right way. He's not rushing Hampton back, and that's the smart play. You don't mess with a lower body injury on a running back. That's their foundation. You push too early, you risk re-injury. And then you're talking about losing him not just for this year, but maybe into next. Holding him out until he's 100% healthy might hurt in the short term, but in the long run, that's how you protect your investment. So we wait. We wait for Hampton to heal, we watch the front office try to plug the holes, and we keep the faith that this thing's headed in the right direction. Because deep down, you can feel it. This isn't chaos, it's construction. The Chargers are being rebuilt from the ground up, and if they get this running game right, the whole house might finally start to stand.